Well, finally, it's meaningful vote week. I've got my port to celebrate, just a small one. Should be fun. So here we are. Britain awaits the decision tomorrow on what on earth's going to happen, whether the Commons has accepted Theresa May's ridiculous deal or not. I've been struck by a number of things, but one of the most important things, I think, is just what an absolute shambles British politics is. It kind of matches Britain as a whole, actually. Britain is a kind of dying place where hardly anything works properly, and we've got a political class to match. As an anarchist, I find it quite entertaining that our political class is quite crap, but it's also corrupt. And we often don't mention the C word in British politics because corruption is something other countries do and we don't talk about it so much. But I was struck today when I learnt that Edward Leigh, who was my MP in the Gainsborough constituency when I was growing up, and he's still there because he's there decade after decade, this man is utter tripe. This man is a pillock, but he's also a nasty little shitty pillock as well. I remember the constant voting against gay rights that he's done over his career, and talking about what he called the merciless prism of equality, as if you can't have enough equality. This man is a nasty piece of work. That's why he's being knighted. And what's interesting about this situation now is that he's suddenly decided he's in favour of Mrs May's deal. Now, what's changed? Well, her deal hasn't. What's changed for this pillock is the fact that he's been given a role on the Privy Council. He's suddenly Right Honourable Dickhead instead of just Honourable Dickhead. The idea that he's changed his mind because suddenly he's decided that Theresa May's deal is brilliant. Actually, what he said is he's changed his mind because of the actions of John Bercow last week and perhaps future actions to come, because he doesn't like the way the Speaker has behaved. Ironically, for such a shit system and for such a terrible period in British politics, the Speaker's the only person who's actually got a bit of guts about them. Unbelievably, I don't want to talk too positively about John Bercow. Any doubts that you could possibly have that the British political class were anything other than incompetent and inept should have disappeared last week at Prime Minister's Question Time. Obviously Corbyn's trying to kind of aim shots towards May, but he's babbling over his word and he's got no point anyway. And May, like Corbyn, everybody behind her hates her, and they're both there at each other. They were like two fish floundering on opposite banks of a river, just hoping maybe that they could flap each other into submission. Absolutely pathetic, and I'm fed up of watching them. But last week, giving Parliament more power was not just a brave thing to do, but a principled thing to do, and actually rather unprecedented. He changed the British Constitution. How about that? That doesn't happen very often. But no, Edward Leigh, this is corruption. In any other country, when someone changes their vote because they've got something out of the system from above, we call it corruption. In this country, we call him Right Honourable. Absolute utter madness. It is disgraceful and disgusting that we have to suffer these despicable people decade after decade ruling over us. Edward Leigh, you are foul. What I would say about this week is expect the unexpected. I think that we're going to see things that happen this week that none of the political pundits are expecting. At the moment, the pundits are all saying that May will lose by 100 votes. Well, it could be more, it could be less. No one's predicting that she's going to win, although who knows, with amendments things might happen that we're not expecting yet. And we also, considering what happened last week with John Bercow effectively ensuring that Parliament had a greater say. We could see more of that kind of move. We could see some amendments that change things. We could see action from the Speaker's chair that changes things. And I wouldn't bet against anything. I certainly wouldn't bet against a general election happening at some point in 2019, maybe not straight away. In any case, if the vote doesn't go May's way and there is a vote of no confidence, then there is a 21-day period for a new government to be arrived at. That new government is unlikely actually to have the best arithmetic of the House of Commons behind it, in which case it might be short-lived itself. So we could end up with all sorts of things happening yet that nobody is predicting. So I would just expect the unexpected. So I'll try and stay as sober as I can through all of this. Let's see what tomorrow brings, and then I might be back. We'll see.